Here are the top stories for today, February 17, 2020. Flights between Manila and Taipei resume as the Philippines lifts the travel ban brought by the threat of COVID-19. President Duterte refuses to allow any reclamation project from the private sector at Manila Bay. Whistleblower Peter Advincula vows to become state witness in the Ang Totoong narco list case without availing of witness protection. And the DILG encourages people to practice discipline and participate in nation building. Good day, I'm Rom Dulfo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Our top story, the Philippines has lifted the temporary travel ban on Taiwan due to precautions on the novel coronavirus or COVID-19. With this, local carriers announced they would resume services between the Philippines and Chinese Taipei beginning Monday. Cebu Pacific would recommence its Manila-Taipei service on February 17 with a flight to Taipei scheduled at night and a return flight to Manila the next day. Philippine Airlines would continue servicing the same route starting February 21 and then hold round-trip flights starting March 1. AirAsia is still assessing its final schedule, while China Airlines has yet to resume its Taipei-Cebu route. Meanwhile, international carrier Eva Air is set to resume its 2 flights a day schedule for Manila-Taipei, as well as its single flight for Taiwan to Cebu. The carriers canceled their Manila-Taipei-Manila flights on February 11 after the Philippine government included Taiwan in the temporary travel ban imposed on China and its special administrative regions, Hong Kong and Macau, on February 2. The Philippine government is reconsidering the travel ban imposed on Hong Kong and Macau. Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat has said that the lifting would be based on the protocols of the 2 territories in containing the coronavirus disease or COVID-19. The question of whether Manila is looking at the ban's removal came after it withdrew the restriction on Taiwan. Romulo Puyat said Taiwan was able to assure the Philippine government it implements strict protocol in handling travelers. Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. earlier said it is time to allow the return of Filipino workers to the territory, citing the facilities of Hong Kong to contain COVID-19. In a tweet, the top diplomat vowed that the government will reconsider the travel ban imposed within 2 weeks. In other news, the Anti-Red Tape Authority or ARTA has directed all government agencies to immediately make an inventory of the respective pending transactions. In a memorandum circular signed by Director General Jeremiah Belhica, ARTA mandated all state departments and offices to conduct an inventory of their pending transactions as of February 14, as well as those that remain pending beyond the prescribed processing time. It directed concerned agencies to submit before March 7 a report on all their respective transactions. It said it would also conduct a random post-audit to verify their compliance with the order. ARTA's fresh order was in compliance with Republic Act 11031 or Ease of Doing Business. Under the law, simple transactions should be completed within 3 days, complex transactions within 7 days from the date the request was received, and highly technical transactions within 20 days. ARTA's latest directive is in line with President Duterte's desire to reduce bureaucratic red tape in government. President Duterte on Saturday said he would not allow any proposals to conduct massive land reclamation activities in Manila Bay. The president made the announcement in a speech delivered during the inauguration of the Sangley Airport Development Project in Cavite City. The president said he took back the power to approve all reclamation projects because he learned that many private firms are interested to reclaim Manila Bay. The president said reclaiming Manila Bay might result in environmental degradation. He said he may only consider proposals made by the government offices. President Duterte said the private sector can wait for his successor to pitch their proposed reclamation activities in Manila Bay. Nearly 10,000 hectares of Manila Bay from Navotas City to Cavite are supposed to undergo 25 reclamation projects. In December 2019, PRA General Manager Joselito Gonzalez said around 4 reclamation projects in Manila Bay have been approved. Environmental group Climate Reality Project cautioned the government that reclamation activities in Manila Bay would displace thousands of residents, cause flooding, and destroy its biodiversity.
there is one important thing that I'd like to make it clear now. Not during my time. I will only allow maybe plans or whatever reclamation if it is in connection with a government project. I will not allow massive reclamation for the private sector. Not now. Because if you approve one, you approve all. Ganon yan.
Malacanang has denied allegations of shifting alliances following the junking of the Visiting Forces Agreement or VFA. And local government units or LGUs begin a new round of road clearing operations. More on this and other news around the metro from Janice Cavin.
Malacanang denies claims by government critics of the Philippines' shifting alliance to other countries following the termination of the Visiting Forces Agreement with the United States. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said the government is not planning to side with other countries, particularly China. He said the Duterte administration continues to follow its friends to all, enemies to none foreign policy. He said President Rodrigo Duterte maintains that the Philippines can stand on its own without an alliance. Meanwhile, the Department of the Interior and Local Government has ordered a second round of road clearing operations starting Monday. DILG Secretary Eduardo Año said LGUs and barangay officials are given 75 days to clear streets and sidewalks, including barangay and tertiary roads. They will be monitored and assessed by the DILG and will face penalties for non-compliance. In other news, the Bureau of Customs donated to the Philippine Red Cross 2 truckloads of assorted items for the families affected by Taal Volcano's eruption last month. PRC Chairman and CEO Senator Richard Gordon accepted on February 13 the donation composed of various food and non-food relief items gathered by the BOC. Customs Officer Mimel Talusan said they chose the PRC for their donation because they know that donation scores through the Red Cross really reach the target recipients. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Still to come. Whistleblower Peter Advincula vows to become state witness in the Ang Totoong Narco List case without availing of witness protection. The DPWH reports progress in the rehabilitation of a Trans-Central Road project connecting Marawi City. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Duterte on duty. Mga balita ang hatod ni Presidente. Enero 27, Lunes, Malacanang. Nag-farewell call kay Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte si outgoing New Zealand Ambassador to the Philippines David Strawn. Enero 29, Miyerkules, Quezon City. Mitambong si Presidente Duterte sa ika-69 founding anniversary sa Department of Social Welfare and Development. Pebrero 3, Lunes, lungsod sa Maynila. Gipanguluhan sa Commander-in-Chief ang change of command ceremony sa Philippine Navy.
As the Philippine Navy sails towards under a new leadership, I trust that you, the officers and personnel of our Navy, will rally behind your incoming flag officer in command, Rear Admiral Giovanni Carlo Bacardo.
Malacanang. Mipahigayon og usa ka media briefing may tungod sa mga lakang sa gobyerno ngadto sa hulga nga dala sa 2019 novel coronavirus.
Everything is well in the country. There's nothing really to be extra scared of that coronavirus thing. And in the Philippines, we only have 2 cases, but they were Chinese, just imported. Hindi galing dito. It was not a native of the Philippines.
Pebrero 4, Martes, Malacanang. Gitigom sa Presidente ang iyang gabinete para hisgutan ang mga importante nga isyu nga gaatubangon sa nasod karon. Pebrero 6, Huwebes, Malacanang. Nanumpa sa presensya sa presidente ang mga bagong opisyal sa gobyerno. Taguig City. Nagpadangat og pahasubo si Presidente Duterte ngadto sa pamilya sa healing priest nga si Father Fernando Suarez. Ako si Secretary Martin Andanar. Og kini ang Duterte on duty at tangi sa sulod nga semana ang mga sunod pang mga pagabuhaton sa Pangulo.
Whistleblower Peter Jobel at Bikoy at Vincula is willing to be a state witness, but is not inclined to be covered by the government State Witness Protection Program. At Vincula's lawyer, Lara Kadam, said on Monday that he will not avail of his witness program protection because he finds it too restrictive. Advincula's testimony in connection with the personalities behind the Ang Totoong Narco List online video released during last year's elections led to his indictment, along with former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV and several others. The Quezon City Metropolitan Trial Court earlier issued arrest warrants against Trillanes, Advincula, and several others charged with conspiracy to commit sedition, filed by the Department of Justice. Advincula incriminated his co-accused in a plot to smear President Duterte and his family in a series of videos released during the campaign period last year. Communist Party of the Philippines, or CPP founding chairman Jose Maria Sison, is to be blamed for identifying and red tagging militants and activists, according to Southern Luzon Command Chief Major General Antonio Parlade Jr. Parlade answered the group's complaint that activists, individuals, and organizations have been red tagged baselessly since the creation of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict in 2018. Parlade clarified that the government does not lump activists and militants into one group because activism is welcome in a democracy, while terrorism is not. Parlade accused the CPP-NPA-NDF of inciting genuine activists against government until they convert into armed members. He also cited how some members are arrested not for being activists, but for being members of underground and armed groups. He also debunked claims of made-up government evidences and allegations of extrajudicial killing of activists. He said the NTF-LCAC will step up its campaign to end insurgency while giving wide latitude for peaceful dissenters. In business, the Bureau of Internal Revenue collections paid through electronic channels are seen to further rise from about 84% in 2019 after the Bureau tapped digital financial services firm PayMaya. BIR Deputy Commissioner for Information Systems Group, Lani David, said the volume of digital payments is big because large taxpayers are mandated to pay electronically. David noted that small and medium-sized businesses and individual taxpayers would now be more encouraged to pay the same way. The Finance Department on Thursday said revenues collected by the BIR through electronic channels reached 1.2 billion pesos in 2019, up by 92% compared to the 626 million pesos in the previous year. David said taxpayers who submitted their income tax returns reached 60% of the total as of last year. This is targeted to increase in the coming years since the agency aims to be fully digital by 2030. Progress in the rehabilitation of the Marawi Trans-Central Road Project Stage 1 in Lanao do Sur has sped up in 5 months since the contractors of the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, undertook the project. Among their accomplishments are stretches of completed single and double lanes of Portland concrete cement pavement road, excavation and installation of the canal, and laying and compaction of materials ready for PCCP pouring. DPWH Undersecretary Emil Sadain reminded those involved to maintain the work quality, putting into consideration present and future traffic volumes, and to provide adequate drainage. The urgent rehabilitation of trans-central roads damaged by armed conflict in Marawi City is part of the DPWH flagship projects and Build, Build, Build agenda of the Duterte administration. A lawmaker urges the Education Department in Agusan del Norte to help save the youth from recruitment by the New People's Army. Meanwhile, the Davao Police unveiled a mural in support of the fight against insurgency. More on this and other news from the provinces from Lade Cabagani.
Agusan del Norte 2nd District Representative Maria Angelica Amante Matba urged the teachers in the province to help the government save the youth from the recruitment of the NPA. Amante Matba emphasized the roles of teachers in protecting students from the influence of the NPA. She also asked the heads of the schools to review the provision of Executive Order 70 issued by President Rodrigo Duterte on the whole-of-nation approach to end local communist armed conflict. In an activity on Saturday, about 84 teachers and non-teaching personnel were also oriented about EO 70. In Iloilo Province, PNP Chief Archie Gamboa vowed to launch offensive attacks against the New People's Army members who killed a young police captain. Gamboa made this promise as he paid his respect to the remains of Captain Efren Espanto Jr. at Camp Delgado in Iloilo City on Saturday. He said offensive operations will go on until the communist rebels surrender. Espanto, the team leader of Western Visayas Regional Mobile Force Reconnaissance Company, was killed in an operation against the NPA on February 12 in Aglobong Village, White Town. Meanwhile, the concrete wall surrounding the Davao City Police Office headquarters were used to canvas for murals depicting the atrocities of the CPP, NPA, and NDF. The murals were unveiled Friday, led by Police Regional Office in Region 11 Director Philmar Escobar, who said the murals symbolized the police support to the desire of President Rodrigo Duterte to end the communist rebellion. The so-called Wall of Peace aims to raise awareness of the government's whole-of-nation approach to end local communist armed conflict. A rally was also held by some 300 protesters against NPA atrocities. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Lade Cabagani.
Up next, the Tourism Department expects the lifting of Taiwan's travel ban to revitalize local tourism. And the DILG encourages people to practice discipline and participate in nation building. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
It's more fun in the Philippines,
But it's more fun if it lasts.
SOS is a call for help.
to save our spots.
a campaign focused on sustainability.
And how applying it can make us better travelers
And more responsible tourists.
To make it simple,
dapat lang marunong tayong rumispeto.
Respect the environment.
Pick up the trash you see.
kahit hindi ikaw nagkalat.
Respect our culture and heritage.
Magpaalam bago kumuha ng pictures ng mga locals.
At huwag basta-basta hawakan ng sites.
Respect everyone around you.
Dapat good vibes tayo sa kapwa Pilipino.
At syempre sa mga foreign friends din natin.
Dahil dito sa SOS,
Sama-sama tayo.
And every little act we do can help make a big difference.
at home
And while traveling,
like opting for reusables,
Instead of disposables,
Biking and walking more.
Using less electricity.
As long as we're consistent.
And we convince everyone around us to do the same.
we can change this country for the better.
huwag natin babayaan ang Pilipinas.
Join this cause.
dapat hindi lang maganda ang pinupuntahan nating destinations
Dapat, pinapaganda pa natin ito.
while we're there.
Let's appreciate
And take more care.
Of our nature's beauty. Para more travels tayo around the country,
More tourists, being more respectful, and more fun.
in the Philippines!
Let's make our destinations last.
Save our spots.
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 Para more fun, forever.
The Tourism Department has welcomed the lifting of the travel ban on Taiwan to minimize the impact of the coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 global scare on the local tourism industry. In a statement, Tourism Secretary Berna Romulo Puyat said the recovery of all affected countries is a universal prayer, especially for the tourism sector. The temporary ban on Taiwan was lifted by Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases on Friday. The task force established that Taiwan has been implementing very strict and excellent protocols in handling travelers. Taiwan is the country's fifth largest tourist source market, raking up an impressive double-digit increase of 37% for its 300,000 arrivals from January to November last year. Meanwhile, the task force is reassessing the security health protocol of Macau amid plans to lift the travel ban there. As the World Health Organization or WHO continues monitoring the spread of COVID-19, Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus on Saturday called on governments, companies, and news organizations to strengthen their efforts in spreading facts and stop fake news. In a speech at the Munich Security Conference in Germany, Ghebreyesus highlighted the danger of fake news about COVID-19, saying it could be hampering the response to containing its spread. He notes that the severe disruption in the market for personal protective equipment is putting frontline health workers and caregivers at risk. Ghebreyesus also underscored the strategies undertaken by various countries to contain the outbreak despite the impossibility to predict its direction. China reports that it has contained more than 99% of the confirmed cases within its borders, with 1,770 deaths and more than 70,000 infected as of Monday. In our foreign news, star players attending the 2020 NBA All-Star Weekend on Saturday voiced their support for China's fight against the ongoing coronavirus outbreak. In a press conference on Saturday evening, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver called on the people of China to stay strong amid their circumstances. He adds, NBA officials in China are working with World Health Organizations on coronavirus relief efforts. During the NBA Rising Stars game at the United Center in Chicago on Friday evening, the scoreboard displayed a message reading, "Stay strong, Wuhan," in both Chinese and English before the second half started. Players such as Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic, Spencer Dinwiddie and Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets, Chris Paul of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Ben Simmons of the Philadelphia 76ers, and Kemba Walker of the Boston Celtics also expressed solidarity with China and wished everyone well. As part of efforts to make Filipinos participate in nation building, the Department of Interior and Local Government, or DILG, launched in Cagayan de Oro City a campaign urging everyone to practice discipline. Rechi Paculba with the news.
DILG 10 launches Disiplina Muna in promoting participative citizenry, mobilizing citizens to take part in promoting change and further attain sustainable development. The Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG 10, launched the Disiplina Muna advocacy campaign February 13 at Cagayan de Oro City. Anchored on 7 pillars including road clearing, disaster preparedness and resilience, anti-smoking, ease of doing business, liquor ban, tourist spots cleanup, and functional barangay Anti-Drug Abuse Council, or BADAC, the campaign also targets to end insurgency in the country.
On top of our hard approach of armed struggle against insurgents, we have employed several soft strategies, such as the enhanced comprehensive local integration program, or ECLIP, that gives our rebels a chance to redeem themselves and reintegrate to our mainstream society.
And because communist insurgents continue to capitalize on abused issues such as poverty, injustice, corruption, and lack of basic services to fuel the hatred of the masses against the government, the Retooled Community Support Program, or RCSP, and Capacitating Urban Communities for Peace and Development, or CUCPD, have been launched.
We need our constituencies, we need the public to be with us when we would like that there will be good governance happening in our local government units.
Local government units and national line agencies will also conduct a series of activities to fully realize the advocacy campaign in the grassroots level. With the launching of Disiplina Muna in key cities, the promise of a brighter and better Philippines is within arm's reach. Anyo said he was very delighted that Region 10 followed suit and is one of the pioneering regions across the country to launch such initiative. For PNA Newsroom, Retchi Paculba, Philippine Information Agency.
Take another look at today's biggest stories. Flights between Manila and Taipei resume as the Philippines lifts the travel ban brought by the threat of COVID-19. President Duterte refuses to allow any reclamation project from the private sector at Manila Bay. Whistleblower Peter Advincula vows to become state witness in the Ang Totoong Narco List case without availing of witness protection. And the DILG encourages people to practice discipline and participate in nation building. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, check our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more news about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags on all our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I am Rom Dulfo. Good day.